You ever wonder why your grocery total keeps creeping up even though your cart looks the same? The quiet leak usually starts with the basics: paper towels, rice, onions, the stuff you never think twice about. But what if I told you Walmart's everyday brands are quietly bleeding your budget, while Aldi's versions quietly patch it up? Tonight, we're pulling off the label and showing how 6 rolls, a bag of rice, or even a head of garlic can flip the script on your monthly spend. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. Costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. If your paper towel price has crept up from $6 to nearly $10 without you noticing, you're not alone. The slow climb hides inside the routine, the things you buy without thought because you must. Paper towels, dish soap, cleaning wipes, trash bags. None of it feels optional, so you toss them in the cart, pay, and move on. You tell yourself these are fixed costs, but the truth is they aren't fixed at all. They're flexible if you shop in the right aisle. Let's start with the most ordinary culprit, that 6-pack of paper towels. At Walmart, you'll hand over close to $10 for it. At Aldi, the same size pack sits around $4 less. Same format, same promise of extra absorbent. No miracle behind the lower tag, just a store that trims the middle. What's sneaky is how those few dollars pile up when you aren't counting. You don't notice because they vanish one receipt at a time, small, repeat purchases that disguise themselves as negligible. Run the math over a month. A couple of cleaning staples here, a fresh roll of trash bags there, one multipurpose spray. You repeat that set every few weeks, and quietly, those tiny gaps widen into hundreds by the end of the year. It's not dramatic. It's gradual, like a faucet left just slightly turned, dripping in the background while you focus on bigger things. Rent, car payments, the grocery total. You know the sound is there, but it becomes part of the room's noise. People rarely question the basics because they feel too mundane to review. Everyone obsesses over cutting out streaming subscriptions or chasing gas points, but it's the daily needs that eat the budget alive. I talked to a woman who realized she'd been overpaying for years without once comparing stores. Her weekly bill didn't shrink until she tried switching her most boring purchases. Her first stop was paper towels, and she immediately saw the difference: neat, predictable savings stacked week after week. She said, "Why didn't I do this sooner?" And that's what most people ask once they finally look. What hooks you isn't loyalty, it's habit. We treat certain brands as default, as if paying more buys reliability. But that mental shortcut favors the store, not your wallet. Aldi built its reputation on flipping that idea. No big flashy branding, just the baseline goods marked at realistic margins. The lower total feels strange at first, like something must be missing, but the towels still clean the same spills. The detergent still foams. Nothing changes except the receipt total. Once you spot that leak, it's hard to unsee it. Those unnoticed dollars define the first battleground of smarter shopping. Stop the drip at its smallest point and the rest of your budget starts to breathe again. Now let's move from the kitchen counter to the coffee mug, where the daily drain really accelerates. Ever added up how much you spend on coffee you brew at home? The numbers can sting. The habit feels harmless. A few scoops every morning, one trip to restock every couple of weeks. But this is where daily ritual quietly turns into monthly expense. Coffee sits right next to utilities on the list of non-negotiables. You may cut streaming or takeout, but nobody touches the caffeine budget. That routine comfort gives it cover. It stays invisible, yet its cost stacks like compound interest. A few cents difference per cup feels irrelevant until it repeats 30 times over. At that rate, your kitchen brew can siphon off $20 or $30 each month without sounding any alarms. The culprit isn't the caffeine. It's the small gap that hides between price tags. Walmart's shelf starts near $6 for a 12-ounce bag. Aldi's lands just under that, about $5 and change, for a blend that hits the same clean, bold flavor promise. On paper, that's a tiny spread, but scale it across a household that runs through 2 or 3 bags a month, and those coins balloon into bills. The truth isn't that everything at Walmart is a ripoff. It's that we stop noticing the quiet creep of prices because it feels like business as usual. The packaging stays the same, the scanner beeps the same, and you assume nothing changed. But those small differences compound. Question every automatic purchase, from paper towels to peppers. Check where the leaks start. The savings aren't hiding in loyalty cards. They're sitting in plain sight, waiting for attention. The smartest savings aren't made in bulk. They're made by paying attention. Like and subscribe to help us keep the spotlight on the food industry's best-kept price secrets. This is where perception steps in. People assume higher price equals higher quality. That illusion of quality nudges shoppers to stick with a brand name because it looks more trustworthy, more premium. It's a textbook marketing spell. What you're often paying for isn't a better roast or purer bean. It's the logo that decorates the bag. Aldi's private label sidesteps the packaging pretense by offering a comparable roast minus the extra markup. You still get the same caffeine kick, the same aroma that pushes you into consciousness in the morning, just at a cost anchored closer to reality. Think about what $30 of real-world value buys when it's not dissolved into your coffee pot. One shopper we spoke to rerouted her coffee savings into fuel each month. No budgeting app required, just a switch at the shelf. By the end of the quarter, that modest change freed up enough for an extra tank of gas. Another parent redirected the same difference toward childcare costs, shaving down a bill without cutting a single necessity. Once those benefits become visible, the light bulb flips. You start scanning every label that once felt sacred. Brand loyalty keeps people paying for comfort rather than content. It's not about taste fatigue. It's about habit inertia. Paying attention to this one habit is like discovering a hidden lever in your budget. Pull it and you give yourself a silent raise. The kind of raise that hides in plain sight, decade after decade, waiting for someone to notice. Now let's move on from caffeine to something that wears a halo of virtue but carries its own markup, your healthy eating. And it starts with that simple jar of organic sauce on the good shelf. That organic label on your tomato sauce isn't the wallet drain you think, if you're shopping in the right store. For most shoppers chasing healthy ingredients, the red flag isn't sodium or sugar, it's the price tag. You want the cleaner version of your pantry staples, but the so-called better options are sitting at twice the cost. That's how clean eating becomes a luxury diet instead of an everyday habit. It's not the ingredients that break you, it's where you're buying them. Let's start with the symbol that sells purity. That green and white organic stamp. It signals quality but also flashes an unspoken warning that you're about to pay more. Walk down Walmart's aisle, pick up a jar of organic tomato sauce, and you can see this play out. People believe high price equals high virtue. The shelves are designed to reinforce that idea, with fancy fonts and buzzwords doing most of the heavy lifting. But Aldi quietly dismantled that system by stripping out everything that doesn't change the food itself. No display hype, no paid shelf spots, fewer middlemen. You still get the jar that lists real tomatoes, olive oil, and sea salt, but you aren't also buying a commercial campaign. The irony is that many healthy shoppers stop checking prices once they see the organic label. They assume the marketplace is fair for that tier. It's not. Aldi's success comes from challenging that fairness game, turning organic into a standard shelf option rather than a treat. When one parent realized Aldi's organic sauce was nearly the same recipe as the boutique labels, she started replacing more of her list: pasta, frozen veggies, carrots, even baby snacks. The family's grocery costs dropped, but the diet improved because clean food became accessible every single week instead of on payday. Low cost doesn't mean low quality. It usually means fewer markups dressed as meaning. The store's own suppliers often share farms and factories with those premium labels. The difference is packaging bravado, not product source. Once you accept that, the idea of cheap flips, it becomes smart, not second-rate. Those few dollars saved on a jar of sauce or a sack of carrots are modest, but they're consistent. That's the ground where habits shift. Healthy and affordable can coexist once you stop treating price as proof of purity. It's not a trade-off. It's a recalibration. Every savings lets you keep those organic choices in regular rotation instead of on special occasions. And when steady savings stretch across your pantry and fridge, they stop being random discounts, they start building momentum. So as your grocery list evolves, Those quiet line item wins begin adding up, reshaping not just what you buy but how often you manage to buy smarter.